question. I asked you, how many times did the president's name appear?
I don't know.
It's your testimony. You do not know that answer.
A number of times, no.
Could you tell us how many agents were diverted for this task and what they were working on?
Three minutes ago, Zoe Lofgren did something that nobody expected her to do. The woman known for her careful, methodical approach to oversight, the Congresswoman who spent 28 years building a reputation for precision over performance. She stood up in that Senate Intelligence Committee room and she didn't just ask questions. She read names out loud on camera. Names that Kash Patel has spent the last 11 months fighting to keep buried. And when you see his face, when you watch the color drain from his expression, when you see his hands start trembling on that witness table, you'll understand why this moment changes everything. If you are new here, subscribe right now and hit that notification bell, because what happened in that hearing room 3 minutes ago is going to explode across every news channel within the hour. You need to see this first. You need to understand what just happened before the spin starts, before the damage control kicks in, before Washington tries to bury this under the next news cycle. Let me set the scene for you. Senate Intelligence Committee afternoon session. The 16th of February, 2026. The hearing was supposed to be routine. FBI oversight, budget allocations, counterterrorism briefings, standard stuff, boring stuff. Kash Patel walked in like he always does. Confident, that specific kind of Washington confidence that comes from surviving 100 hostile hearings and knowing exactly how to deflect, dodge, and run out the clock. He had his legal team with him. 3 lawyers, 2 aides, all of them carrying thick briefing binders. He wore his standard dark suit, American flag pin, that practiced expression of calm authority. He'd done this dance before. He knew the steps. What he didn't know was that Zoe Lofgren had spent the last 72 hours reading every single page of the newly released Epstein documents, all 847 pages. And she'd found something. The first hour was exactly what everyone expected. Questions about cybersecurity threats, updates on foreign interference operations, some back and forth about field office staffing. Patel handled it smoothly, standard playbook, but then Lofgren's turn came. She didn't start with pleasantries. She opened a red folder, thick tab with colored markers, pages marked with yellow highlights, and she looked directly at Kash Patel. Director Patel, she said, her voice calm, but carrying that edge that anyone who has watched her work knows means business. I want to talk about the document release that happened 72 hours ago. The Epstein files, Patel's expression didn't change. He'd been expecting this. I am familiar with the release. Congresswoman, the FBI has cooperated fully with all court-mandated disclosures. That is interesting. Lofgren said because the documents tell a different story. She pulled out the first page. These files were released at 11:47 p.m. on a Friday night. That is a very specific time. Director, some might say it is the exact time you release documents when you are hoping nobody will notice them. Patel shifted slightly. Congresswoman, the timing of document releases is determined by legal review processes. And that is not what I asked. Lofgren's voice cut through like a knife. But let me move on, because what is in these documents is far more interesting than when you release them. The room energy change, you could feel it. That electric tension when everyone realizes they're about to witness something. They'll remember. Lofgren turned to the second tab, page 47 of the released documents. FBI internal memo dated the 3rd of March, 2025, 3 months after you became FBI director. She held it up. This memo, signed by your deputy director, orders the reclassification review of, quote, all Epstein-related materials containing references to individuals currently serving in government or positions of significant public influence. End quote. She looked at Patel. Did you authorize this memo, Director? Patel's jaw tightened. You could see it, that muscle right below his ear. Congresswoman, classification reviews are standard procedures that I didn't ask if they were standard. I asked if you authorized this specific memo, the one that resulted in 34 documents being pulled from public release. Silence, 20 seconds of silence. In a congressional hearing, 20 seconds feels like an hour. Patel finally spoke. The FBI's classification protocols are designed to protect both national security interests and the privacy of individuals who have not been charged with crimes. So that is a yes. Lofgren nodded slowly. Then let me ask you this. Of those 34 documents that you reclassified, how many contain names of people who are politically connected to you? I am not going to speculate about the contents of classified materials in an open session. You don't have to speculate. Director Lofgren's voice rose. I have the documents right here. The ones that were released 72 hours ago, the ones you fought for 11 months to keep hidden, and I read every single page. She opened the folder wider. So let me help you. Let me read you some of the names that appear in these documents. Names that you tried to keep secret. Patel's hands moved to the table edge, flat palms pressing down. Congresswoman, I must object to this line of questioning. The release of names without proper context. I am not releasing anything. Director, these documents are already public. As of 72 hours ago, any American citizen can download them. I am simply reading aloud what is already in the public domain. She looked down at the first page, document 127. FBI interview transcript dated the 15th of August, 2009. Witness testimony from Maria Santos, former housekeeper at Epstein's Palm Beach residence. Ms. Santos provided a list of individuals she personally observed at the property between 2002 and 2005. The FBI recorded 14 names. She paused. 10 of those names have been redacted in this release, but 4 remain. The room was dead silent now. Every reporter had their phone out. Every committee member was leaning forward. Name 1, Lofgren read, a prominent technology entrepreneur who made multiple visits in 2003. Name 2, a Hollywood producer who attended at least 6 gatherings between 2004 and 2005. She looked up at Patel. These are your words, Director, from FBI interview transcripts conducted under your agency's authority. Patel's face was pale now. Congresswoman, without proper context, these descriptions, I am not finished. Lofgren's voice had an edge now, real anger. Name 3, a senior political figure who visited the property in early 2005. The room erupted. Gasps from the gallery, committee members looking at each other, reporters typing frantically. And Patel looked like he'd been physically struck. He tried to respond. Congresswoman, these descriptions are vague enough that they could refer to dozens of individuals. That is interesting. Director Lofgren cut him off because the original FBI report, the one from 2009, that report contained full names, actual names, not descriptions. She held up another document. This is the classification changelog. It shows exactly when names were removed and replaced with generic descriptions. Want to guess when that happened? Patel said nothing. March 2025, 3 months after you took office. She leaned forward. So let me ask you directly. Did you personally order the removal of specific names from these documents to protect powerful people? I need to pause here. If you are watching this and you understand what is happening, like this video right now, this needs to reach more people and drop a comment because what happens next gets even more explosive. Patel tried to regain control. Congresswoman Lofgren, I find your insinuations to be deeply concerning. The FBI operates with complete independence from political considerations. That is fascinating. Director, Lofgren's voice was ice cold now because I have evidence that directly contradicts that statement. She pulled out a new document. This is an email dated the 8th of March, 2025 from your office to the Classification Review Board. She held it up. It contains a list of 23 names. And next to each name, there is a notation she read from the page. Political sensitivity high, reputational damage potential significant, legal exposure moderate to severe. Lofgren looked at Patel. That doesn't sound like independence to me, Director. That sounds like political protection. Patel's lawyers were whispering urgently. He waved them off. That email is being mischaracterized. Security reviews consider multiple factors that email. Lofgren interrupted, includes 3 names that I am going to read right now. 3 names that appear in the Epstein documents. 3 names that you try to bury. She looked directly at the camera. The American people deserve to know who you are protecting. Director Patel. The room held its breath. First name, a former cabinet secretary who served under 2 administrations. The document shows 7 recorded visits to Epstein properties between 2003 and 2006. Flight logs confirm at least 3 trips on Epstein's private aircraft. FBI interviews with staff place this individual at multiple gatherings where, according to witness testimony, underage girls were present. She paused. This person has never been charged, never been publicly questioned, and under your leadership, their name was removed from public documents. Patel tried to speak. Congresswoman, the privacy rights of individuals who haven't been charged, I am not finished. Lofgren's hand came down on the desk. Second name, a billionaire technology CEO. Documents indicate this individual maintained a relationship with Epstein spanning nearly a decade. Email correspondence discusses, quote, discrete arrangements and references to, quote, special introductions. The room was in chaos now. Whispers, gasps, people pulling up documents on their phones. And Patel was sweating, actually visibly sweating under the lights. He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Senator Congresswoman Lofgren corrected coldly. And I still have one more name to read. The third name is perhaps the most significant. A Hollywood executive with extensive political connections. The FBI has testimony from 3 separate witnesses. placing this individual at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse on multiple occasions in 2004 and 2005. One witness, a woman who was 17 at the time, provided a sworn statement describing abuse that occurred in this individual's presence. The silence that followed was suffocating. Lofgren looked at Patel. This person, Director Patel, you removed their name from the public record. You buried their identity. You protected them. She gathered her documents. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Did you personally order the removal of these names? Did you knowingly protect powerful individuals? Did you use your position as FBI director to bury evidence? Patel was frozen. His lawyers were frantically writing notes. He wasn't reading them. He was staring at Lofgren like a man watching his entire career collapse in real time. Finally, he spoke. His voice was barely audible. Congresswoman, the FBI's classification decisions are made through a comprehensive review process that is not what I asked, yes or no. Director, did you order these names removed? The microphone, picked up his breathing heavy, uneven. I acted in accordance with established protocols. You protected powerful people. Lofgren stood up, actually stood up. You took an oath, Director Patel. An oath to uphold the law, to seek justice, to protect victims. And instead, you protected their abusers. You buried evidence, you hid names. She pointed at him. You chose power over truth, and now the whole country knows it. The hearing room exploded, reporters running out, committee members shouting questions, gallery observers standing. And Kash Patel sat there with his head slightly bowed, his hands trembling, his career shattering in real time on live television. Lofgren gathered her folders. This committee will be issuing subpoenas for all internal communications regarding the Epstein document classification review. We will obtain every email, every memo, every phone record. She looked at Patel one last time. And if we find that you obstructed justice, if we find that you deliberately suppressed evidence to protect powerful criminals, I will personally ensure that you face the consequences. The truth is coming out, Director Patel, and you can't bury it anymore. The chairman called for recess. The cameras kept rolling. And somewhere in Washington, powerful people who thought their secrets were safe were watching their protection crumble. 3 minutes. That is all it took for Zoe Lofgren to expose what Kash Patel spent 11 months trying to hide. 3 names, 3 powerful individuals, 3 people who should have been held accountable years ago, and 1 FBI director who chose to protect them. If you want to know what happens next, subscribe right now. The subpoenas are coming. The depositions are coming. The truth is coming. Share this video. The mainstream media will try to spin this. Don't let them. This is about powerful people who abused children and the FBI director who protected them. That is the story. That is the truth. And after today, after what Zoe Lofgren just did, nobody can deny it anymore.